Hello everyone, it's day 5. Well, kind of. I am actually cheating. I'm recording this at the end of day 4. We're at church tomorrow because it's Sunday and we're going to be really busy, and I just thought, you know what, to save me rushing trying to get this done, I thought I'll record it now just before I go to bed. I've been listening to a YouTube video by a guy called Hal Elrods. Now this guy, he was talking about living by the 5-minute rule. And what he says is, if something bad happens to you, or that's out of your control, something happens to you, he said, you can moan about it and complain for 5 minutes. And then after that, you need to start making the best of it. You need to just accept what's happened, you can't change it, and just get on with your life. And what happened with him was, when he was 20, he was involved in a really nasty car accident. He was hit by a drunk driver head on, 70 miles an hour. Drunk driver was doing 80 and he was doing 70, and they hit head on. And then another car was also doing 70, hit the side of Hal. So obviously he was in quite bad shape. He died at the roadside, was dead for at least 6 minutes, and they managed to revive him. He was very, very poorly for a while. When he finally came around, they told him he had permanent brain damage and he may never walk again. And Hal was saying that one of the first things that came back, because his short-term memory was really damaged. He had no short-term memory to start with. He says, but one of the first things that came back to his memory was something he'd been reading about the 5-minute rule. And he looked at it and said, well, this has happened to me and I can't change it, so I need to just get on with it and make the best of it. So he started to be really positive, and he'd joke and laugh with the doctors and nurses. And they actually got quite concerned because they thought he was in denial, and they took his parents aside and said, you need to talk to him because we're very concerned he's in denial, because he's just not taking it seriously. He's just laughing and joking, and it's not normal. So his dad took him aside and talked to him about it. And Hal said to his dad, he said, you know what, I can't change what's happened to me. He said, but I can change my attitude towards it. He said, I can moan and complain and that's going to achieve nothing. He said, or I can just be positive. He says, there's 2 scenarios that is going to happen. He says, the first is that I will never walk again. And he says, you know what, if that happens, then I am going to be the happiest person you have ever seen in a wheelchair. He said, or the second scenario is that I may learn to walk again. He says, that's the one that I'm aiming for right now. He says, and I'm really going to give it my all to do that one. But he says, you know what, if that doesn't happen, then I will be the happiest guy in a wheelchair. And he actually goes on to say, you know, he now lives by the 5-second rule. He says, you know, if something bad happens, he'll complain about it for 5 seconds. And then he'll decide, right, you're going to make the best of it. Because he said, why, be miserable for the next 4 minutes and 55 seconds? Just see, if something happens, you can't change it, you need to just move on. Jesus said in John 16:33, he said, I've told you these things so that you may have peace. He says, in this world you will have trouble. You know, you're going to have trouble. It's inevitable. Even Jesus has said that. He says, but take heart, be of courage, because I have overcome the world. And this is what we need to think. When something bad happens, we just need to go, Jesus has overcome the world, and he's with me. I often remember something that Andrew Womack said. I think it was a chaplain in the army in Vietnam said to him, this war will melt you, but you get to choose the mould. And that has always stuck with me for many years, because yes, this world will melt us. Things will happen that are outside our control, things that are not nice, and they will melt us, but then we get to choose the mould. We get to choose how we're going to turn out afterwards. And I just wanted to encourage you with that today, that if something bad's happening, just give it to God and decide, you know what, I'm going to see the best out of this. Whatever happens in this situation, I'm going to find the best. I'm going to find something positive. There is no point, if you can't change it, there's no point moaning about it. You'll just be miserable, and so will everybody else around you, and it won't change it. If anything, it'll just make it worse. If you find the positive in it, then life will get better. I know for me at the moment, obviously not anywhere near on a par to Hal's experience of dying and being in such a bad shape physically, but we've just recently been told that our landlady wants to sell our home. We've only been here 7 months, and she's decided she wants to sell. And I have to say, I moaned and complained, and I had a little cry, and I was really upset. Yet I can see God's hand in this, and I know God's in control, but every now and again I have a little cry, and I let myself get a little overwhelmed, and I have to stop myself, because it's not helping anything. And God's going to do something really amazing in this time. I know He is. And so now I need to keep fixing my eyes on Jesus and trusting Him. I am going to take heart. I am going to be of courage, because God has a plan, and nothing will get in His way if I just submit to Him and keep praising Him. Praise Him in all circumstances. Have a great day today, and I will see you tomorrow or on Monday. Okay, keep up with your diet. You're doing good. Bye for now.